Hey everyone, it's Clint again. I've had a pretty miserable evening, and yeah, I'm going to tell you a little bit about it. I decided to just jump on and start a live stream because there have been some issues with YouTube lately. I noticed things starting last week, and yeah, today it's been super strange. Basically, it hasn't been suggesting videos that I post. And it sounded like I was just listening to Ethan's stream as I was working in my basement, and it sounded like he was having the same kind of issue. So I just want to make sure that that is working. I do see, yeah, some viewers are coming in. So believe it or not, this is the third time I started a live stream today, and this is the first time that it's actually working. So that's weird. I'm not sure what to make of that. I'm just going to see if I can find y'all there. Hello. All right. Good morning. Cam's here. Nerdettes, Nude Suzanne. Hey, I love your channel, by the way. Tristan, I believe it. Yeah. Great channel. Uh, Rabid Ti Cat. Well, I said that wrong. Hello. Welcome. Well, it's good to see that live streaming is actually working. This is strange. Gateways. Oh, Warski's having the same problem last night. Yeah, something is up. Um, and I like to try and think that there's something reason, like there's got to be some reason it's going at gone, but I don't know. So yeah, this is the third time I started a live stream today. The first two times I talked for, I mean, the first time I talked for like a good, it was like 10 minutes, and I just thought nobody's in the stream yet, something's wrong. And for some reason it wasn't, like, it was broadcasting, but you couldn't find it on YouTube if you wanted to. So yeah, Ethan mentioned it in his live stream. I was listening to it while I was working in the basement. Oh, why am I working in the basement, you ask? Well, that's because, so normally I'd be working right now at my day job, but we had a pretty bad leak in the basement. So I'm not exactly sure where it's coming from. I think I think it's coming from our shower in the basement, but we've had water in the basement in my daughter's room. It ruined a lot of sheetrock. So I've been tearing out sheetrock last night and today, and it hasn't been a lot of fun, but yeah, I thought I'd take a break. I didn't make a video for today, so I thought I'll just do a live stream, and we'll go from there, I guess. So I'm glad that it's finally working. Yeah, water leaks are like kryptonite to comic fans. I hear you. There's so much else I'd rather be doing right now, and it's awful because I don't know if you've ever had to tear out sheetrock before. It's like, in theory, you should be cutting, I think it's like 2 feet or something like that. Maybe it's a foot up from the ground if there's water on the ground. You want to cut up and be nice straight lines up and over, cut out the section, make sure you know, give it like a foot or so leeway so you're way past the wet stuff so you can prevent mold, things like that. Uh, but they actually had wood paneling. I guess I've got an older house and it's been flipped like a few times. And so underneath the sheetrock, there's wood paneling. And so the sheetrock is like, it's just screwed into the wood paneling. So it's really hard to find out where the studs are. Yeah, I know this is all, I'm just sharing my fun experience with you all, but it's been a pain. Everything involving sheetrock is bad. Yes, I agree. It's been miserable. So I still have a lot more of that to do today, but I thought I'll take a little break here. Uh, so if any of you are watching Ethan's stream, he said something I thought was interesting. That was that the comic industry is afraid. Yeah, it's he said he had somebody come to him from the industry that he hadn't talked to in a long time, and they wanted to mediate something between Comicsgate and the industry. Yeah, I'd like to know more about that. Hey, LDS Hell, can't, yeah, insider info. Yeah, there's something something's going on. Okay, so here's the thing. I'm thinking through this. If you wanted to mediate something between the industry and Comicsgate, that's already flawed thinking. There's no possible way you could do that because how do you? It's not like we're some organization, right? We can't even we can't even get along for very long before there's all these inside rifts that come up. So why on earth would we be able to come together and decide, we're gonna forgive the comics industry and let bygones be bygones? Things have changed, and I think the industry is realizing it's going to affect the future. The future is not going to be the same. Hey, Artful Snacker, I love that name, by the way. Yeah, Midnight Images, welcome. Yeah, I don't usually do daytime live streams, but I've got the day off because of personal problems. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. Let's see. Cam says I'll let EVS negotiate that with Comicsgate input. Yeah, I mean, what kind of demands would we have? Right? If we wanted a negotiation to happen, what kind of demands would we put on the list? I don't know. Like I just don't trust. I don't trust, like, especially Marvel. Okay, I love Spider-Man. I'd love to go read Spider-Man comics and enjoy them. The thing is, like, you can enjoy it and then you get ambushed with ideology or with, I mean, honestly, just bad storytelling. So I don't know, like, how I don't know how I could feel good about that all of a sudden. Like, oh, okay, well, they promised not to shoehorn ideology into their books anymore. Is that even going to happen? Let's see. Gateway says the future of comics is Comicsgate or anyone who wishes to reach out and grab it. Exactly. That's the way I see it. There's an opportunity here, and there's been a lot of people that have recognized that the industry is changing, whether anyone likes to admit it or not. Uh, let's see. Subject change says there's no sort of negotiation. All you can really do is vote with your wallet, and I think that's exactly why they're so worried. There's a lot of voting with your wallet going on. Sales are down. I think everyone's probably seen that before. Even though Diamond said that they were up, they're not actually up. They went down. And then you have people like, let me see if I'm going to share my screen here. There we go. Let's see. Gail Simone. I know she's always the example you bring up. Let me see if I can pop this chat out. I just want to be able to see actually chat at the same time. Is that too much to ask? We'll find out. Pop it out. Okay. So far, so good. See, I'm getting a little bit better at this. There. Now we can look at the tweets, and I can at least see this, what you guys are saying in the chat. Okay. Not Gil. She makes me depressed. Sorry. Yeah, I don't want to spend a lot of time on Gil, but I do think that it's not just Gil, right? There's a lot of pros. She's just very vocal about it. But they watch, like she even says here, of all the creepy deluded gators, the one that creeps me out is the weird uncle dude with the long moralizing videos who never manages to say anything. He's that relative you avoid yet desperately needs your constant attention. I'm not sure, like, who is she talking about? I don't know. Am I the uncle? I don't think so. I think that, I mean, people call Ethan Uncle Ethan, but don't think she would. I don't know. I'm not sure exactly who she's talking about. Gosh, she's so insufferable. I know. The point here is though that she watches the videos. Uncle Ethan. I would have thought she would have just said Ethan then, not Uncle. Oh, Edwin. Oh, Edwin. She's probably talking about Edwin. Edwin's a good guy. I don't I don't understand the problems there. But yeah, the problem is that they're afraid. So Gail is worried. She's very vocal about it. We've heard, I know Tug talked about this a little bit, but Scott Snyder is worried. He's been going around telling everybody, and I kind of suspect, I wonder if Scott Snyder's the one that reached out to Ethan. Apparently he's been reaching out to everybody to tell them to like change their tune or something. Good morning, Lady Hawk. Yeah, I had to finish up a meeting before hopping on the stream. Yeah, I realize a lot of you probably at work. That's where I would normally be. I was just explaining I had a leak a major leak in the basement, and so I've got the day off. I've been tearing out sheetrock last night and carpet today, and yeah, I'm still trying to get to the root of the problem. So I thought I'd take a little break because I didn't have time to make a regular video. So here we go. Um, and also, I wanted to find out if YouTube was working because this is the third time I started this stream, and finally it's actually live. Let's see, Cam says Scott Snyder earned my ire with his cowardly condemnation of Comicsgate. He can go too. Yeah, so that's the thing is how do you reconcile that? If somebody really wanted to come and mediate, I don't that honestly the logistics of that are not going to happen. But if someone came and said, all right, I'm a representative of Marvel Comics. Okay, maybe this. Okay. Joe Quesada has been fired. He's lost his job. We're just going to go with this fantasy. Okay. We fired Joe Quesada. We, possibly hired new editors, and we recommitted to focusing on our customers. And to show that we're committed to it, we're going to, I don't know, stop calling Comicsgate a hate group, perhaps. Maybe we're going to, I don't know, like what kind of promise could they do that would make us trust them? I can't see it happening because it'd be the same thing. It's the slow creep, like the frog boiling in water, right? And then eventually you're just back to where you were again. So it doesn't really make sense to me. Let's see. Cam says the point is to actually accomplish this. It's the present the problem present the problem in a way that they can't easily sidestep. They won't actually be in a negotiation. Yes, this is true. They just want their fans back. Now I know a lot of YouTubers have talked about, that the industry is worried, and like I've even had people say, I don't know, that's a bit much. That's hyperbole, perhaps. It's really not. They are genuinely worried. Um, I think I think that they know that local comic book shops are they're going to be a thing of the past. I'm not sure that like at this point that there's anything that could be done really to change that. Things are just changing, and the damage with a lot of their business practices, has been done. Right? I don't know. This is actually a debate I'd love to have. If anybody, I don't know, maybe a Saturday morning or something. I'd love to have the discussion, like a friendly debate about local comic shops. Are they going to all be gone? Is it like just like Amazon sort of took things over, or are they going to stick around? What changes would need to be in order for them to stick around? I don't know. Let's see. They better be worried. They told them for a while, but we're just the racist, sexist, homophobes. Yeah, I don't see how that changes, right? I mean, there's a teenage kid wearing a MAGA hat and everybody wants to kill them, including comic book pros. I saw at least 2 comic book pros that had some pretty vile things to say about that. So why would that all of a sudden change? It doesn't seem promising. Adam Post says Joe Quesada used to work for Jim Shooter in his studio. Jim Shooter trained him. Okay. Yeah, what's going on? Not a lot's going on. Something strange has happened in YouTube though. And I mentioned this a little bit. I guess it was like late last week. I don't want to be too conspiratorial here, but they're definitely not suggesting videos. And now that I've heard Ethan say it too, it gives me a little bit more confidence to say this, but I don't know that they're doing it on purpose. There's some kind of glitch or some kind of algorithm change, but it's been really, really hard to get YouTube to suggest your videos. And this is the third time I started this live stream. It did not actually get into YouTube the first 2 times. And I've done live streams enough that I know how it works. It's just it wasn't something, it didn't pick it up for some reason. So something's wrong. All right, so let's see what else our friend Gail has to say. Okay, the creepy. Yeah, we saw that. Seriously, the nerve of this oddball to just assume everyone needs to hear his creepy, crotchety words of wisdom is so embarrassingly pathetic. People avoid him, block him. It doesn't even slow him down. Uncle Freaky needs to get on with his life. Okay, the irony here, right? uh, this is so funny because she's moralizing constantly to everybody. I don't get this. Let's see. Correction. I apparently muted the guy rather than blocking him. Corrected. Okay. Well, I mean, just you don't have to be listening to people on Twitter. If you muted him, you wouldn't see anything, right? Isn't that how I've never muted anybody before? It doesn't make sense. It's never, gee, I am clearly creeping this woman right out. She doesn't watch my stupid videos. Maybe I should quit sending them. Nope, because that would take awareness. Yeah, I don't know. People sending videos to Gel. You know, this is how Twitter is, though. Honestly, like I get SJWs that say stuff at me all the time. People saying they were going to boycott my book already. It's not even out yet. They're going to boycott it. You just ignore them. I mean, if they have a legitimate thing to say, like I try to talk to people, but if it's really a problem, like she says it is, then just ignore him. What's the problem? There's something stalker and obsessive about this behavior. It's gross. Okay, you know what else is gross is watching everyone's videos. Isn't SJW Spider-Man kind of stalking? That's the thing. I don't know. It just seems really one-sided here. Okay. Lady Hawk, the Covington kids did appear to be acting douchey from the edited videos that were going around, but when you investigate it, the protesters were actually the ones who approached the kids. Yeah, that's exactly right. The thing here, though, is that it didn't take that much, right, for you and me to go look into it and find out, uh, you know, there is to it. It didn't take that long to find out what the truth was, but the media, it's their job to do that kind of thing. They didn't do it at all. They just went off of that tiny little clip of a video and ran with it. So this is kind of like in higher education, they have those like academic journals. I don't know if you've heard about this, but there have been a group of people that didn't believe that these academic journals were vetted correctly, like they were kind of a scam. So what they did is they wrote fake feminist papers. I'm not making this up. They wrote them so extreme and they used the right kind of buzzwords, but they wrote it so it was intentionally nonsense. They submitted them to these academic papers, and because the point of view was fitting for the academic journals, rather, they printed them. They accepted them, they printed them. And they got several through. One of them was like the misogyny that is at a dog park or something, and is talking about like dogs humping other dogs and how that was, rape culture or something like that. It was entirely ridiculous, but it was enough to get published. So this is the same kind of thing. If the news media is they're showing you their extreme bias because they're so willing to just take a hold of something and run with it as long as it has the right narrative that they want to be pushing. Yeah, I don't know, like, have they apologized yet? Like, I feel like CNN especially, they should run an apology. I know they corrected the fact that the guy was not actually a Vietnam veteran. Oh, yes. Charco, Sweetcast, they actually use text from Mein Kampf. I forgot about that. You're absolutely right. And that is so funny. Because they didn't entirely just use Mein Kampf, if I'm understanding it correctly. But they, I guess, had the right kind of buzzwords, and then they had like a good portion of it was Mein Kampf, and it was accepted and published. That you shouldn't have any uh, confidence in. It's not all academic journals, but many academic journals, especially like social science ones, don't have a lot of confidence in them. And I actually had this conversation just yesterday. We were talking about, well, aren't some of these best practices? I don't want to get into the details. Best practices for things, aren't they based on research? And that's the assumption. But the truth is, no, not when it comes to like organizational setup and especially in higher education. It's not based on actual research. There's no numbers behind it. There hasn't been any studies. It's just like coming up with things. Let's see. Lady Hawk says Peter Boghossian was one of the guys who wrote those papers. Yes, thank you. Look it up. He did one that was basically Mein Kampf with feminist terms. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's amazing, and I'm glad that they do this. It's funny, but it's really helpful because it points out that there are problems with these academic papers. Captain Cummings says CNN will not apologize. This was all about getting people to move off the news story flop from Friday. Friday, the news said Trump told his lawyer to lie to Congress, which was corrected by Mueller. Yeah, I agree. Whenever there's something that's outrageous that takes the spotlight, it's good. It's a good idea to look at what other news is going on, because they're not stupid. They coordinate things. You can manufacture any kind of news story. Obviously, go out, especially in Washington D.C. Go out to a street corner, a bus stop, wherever. You're going to find something that you could show, and especially if you edit it, well, I guess, or evilly, however you want to look at it, then people are going to get what they want from it, right? They're going to make up news. The MAGA kids are not news. It's not newsworthy, but they sure made a big deal out of it. I lived in Detroit for a little while, and I ran into those. Oh gosh, and I forgot what they're called. Same guys, the Israelites. I don't know. I forgot their names. I ran into those guys a few times in Detroit, and they were pretty mean. Like I was actually, I was afraid of physical harm. So got out of there. But that doesn't mean, I don't know. Like if you want to stand your ground, like go for it. Just stand there, right? You shouldn't have to be scared off. Let's see. Paulo says identitarianism is Nazism. Spike always brings up how the social justice was first used by the American Nazi Party before World War II. That's a great point. I do not like identitarianism of any kind. Don't like it. Let's see. Captain Cummings says most normies don't watch the news and will miss the correction. So this is another point. The Gillette ad. I actually looked into that a little bit with Nike. Nike has actually made a ton of money after they did it was something like billions of dollars because of that ad campaign. And at first I was like, wow, how's that possible? The reason that it's possible is because all they care about doing is making a viral video. Most people, they're not like, obviously you all are following stuff like this when it happens in the culture war. Most people are not. So they're seeing Nike everywhere. Everybody's talking about Nike. And when they go to buy shoes, they buy Nike. That's how just the vast majority of people buy things. It sounds strange, but in the big picture, that's how it works. So I suspected that the marketing people knew what they were doing, and they did. Nike made a ton of money. So right now with Gillette, their stocks don't look great right now, but give it some time, give it a year, and I suspect that they'll do the same thing. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe people will get wise to it though. It'll change. It'll get old, or people will stop caring because they'll know they're just trying to make a buck. I don't know. It's hard though when they make such ridiculous videos. Yeah, retrographic books. I heard about this. Red hat equals hatred, right? It's backward. Red hat hatred. SJWs equal. Oh, okay. I'm not. I see where you're going there. I just don't want to get demonetized, so I'm not even going to approach it. All right. Let's see. I'm surprised how PR offices in big industry and consumer products don't understand social justice is not a big seller. Yeah, I mean, again, I think that they realize that it's going to make most people upset, and then, or not most people, it's going to make a lot of people upset, and most people aren't following it and they don't care. So all it's doing is people are hearing about the product and it's enough for them to make money. Uh, Danny Agent, what's your opinion of creator payment issues at Vault Comics? Oh, I didn't hear about this. Creator payment issues. So Vault Comics was having issues paying their creators. I'd have to look at this, I guess. Does internet stalking really exist? I don't know. I don't know if internet stalking really exists. I'm going to get to Google though. Vault Comics. Vault Comics. Choose over payment. We're going to find out this at the same time. Favorite site, Bleeding Cool. Favorite journalist, Rich Johnson. I should say writer, maybe, not journalist. Let's see. I'm going to pull you guys up too so I can see your thoughts. runredhatbad.exe. I like that. Yeah. Yeah, Vault is apparently isn't apparently paying their employees. That's not cool. They must be in trouble. I've been talking to a number of comic creators in recent weeks over issues that some have with payment from comic book publishers. Not so much big guys, but the smaller folk. Okay. However, often comic creators don't want to be seen, don't want to speak out. Some fear that the publisher would stop paying them at all, stop publishing their comics, or even that they would gain a reputation for being difficult. Really? I don't know. I've never worked. I've never been published by a publisher. That seems strange to me, but I guess, maybe you feel like you're in a fragile relationship with your publisher. I don't know. Bleeding Cool has had a long-standing record of securing payments for creators, often off the front page. Okay, so they have to justify themselves. That's funny. We're in the clear. Often it's a case of miscommunication. Sometimes people get in over their heads, and sometimes there's no viable explanation. But we always value companies who communicate more widely when they have issues. Okay, take Vault Comics, a smaller comic book publisher with offices in Maryland and Montana. They were founded in 2016. Okay, don't care. Family owned, yep. They currently publish critical acclaimed comic books such as, too many ads. Natasha, Alterces, Viking lesbian comic. Wow, that sounds fantastic. Mags Visagio. Was Mags not getting paid? Ooh, let's see. Had a number of stories in recent months from a number of creators of either very delayed payments or complete lack of payments. Not universal, certainly, but enough to be concerned about. I reached out to the publisher for comment, and this is what they said. Okay, just looking at chat again here. Okay, all right, I think we're on the same page. All right. In our second year of publishing, Vault felt behind on creator payments. For that, we are forever sorry. Okay, they fell behind. Uh-oh. That means they probably don't have the money to pay them. This is going to be a bankruptcy situation, maybe. We learned from our mistakes. We've improved our payment systems and payment communications with the goal of issuing payments in full and on time. Meanwhile, we've worked to rectify all outstanding billing issues. While we've lost the support of some, we've also gained even stronger support from those who stood by us as we fought our way back. Back to paying creators on time, back to seeing our series released regularly, back to what brought us here in the first place, to better everyone in the industry. Okay, so they got behind on payments and they're catching up, I guess. I don't know. There's a game. I've never run a publishing company, but it's, I mean, it's the same as any kind of business. You have your income and you've got expenses. And one trick you can do is if you know you've got expenses that are due at the end of the month, paying those expenses at the beginning of the month is a bad idea, or like if you need the cash flow, it's a bad idea because then you'd have no cash. So the problem is if you delay paying, so it could be fine to delay paying something until it's due, so you can pay off something else that's due sooner. But only if you know that you're going to get more cash in the meantime. So apparently, I would assume they're playing this kind of game. This happens all the time. They're playing this kind of game and they misjudged, I guess, so they weren't paying creators. I hope that they're all caught up then. Sounds like they were working to get caught up. And hopefully they are. Let's see. Probably would have been more fair to the employees to be honest up front and just close shop. Yeah, that's true too. Well, especially your creators. The scenario I described earlier, if you're going to be paying somebody, like if you're paying the water bill, for example, you're paying like a printer or something like that, you can do that payment game. If you're paying your employees or you're trying to delay payment of your employees, that's a really big problem. It's not the same because it's not like the bills due, like, oh, the bills due at the end of the month. If you have royalty payments that you owe your creators, that's essentially like your employee. So that's a totally different thing. It's not a third party. It's your employee. Anyway. Oh, sounds like my daughter's here. Yeah. So I don't know. I don't know much about this other than I guess they got into a little bit of legal trouble, or not legal, money trouble. Don't know that it reaches legal trouble at this point. So yeah, thanks for yeah, I hear a baby. Yeah, so my daughter is 2. Do you want to hear her say hi? Come here, sweetie. The thing is, if she talks on the microphone, she's gonna like it. And yeah, there she goes. Can you say hi? She's thinking about it. You want to say hi? No, it's like she almost knows that it's live. Yeah, she's 2. I still consider her my baby. I've got he's almost 8, my son, my oldest, and then I've got a 5-year-old daughter and then a 2-year-old. Cast girl, I like that. Yep, everyone says hi. Yeah, I guess I probably won't give her name out. Just be careful. There we go. Just getting up on my lap here. Yeah. She's going to need a nickname like Tugs Dollar Umbrella Girl. Yeah, I don't know what to call her. TV to mommy. Oh yeah, she wants to watch the TV with mommy. Thing is, she doesn't really watch TV. Sweetie Pie, that's a good one. Sweetie Baby. Yeah, the nice thing is with Sweetcast, there's a lot of names that actually work for a small child, huh? I think I called her Sweetie just when I said, "Hey, you want to come here, Sweetie?" So, Cast Girl has a nice ring to it. Yeah, I like that too. Yeah, maybe Sweetie Girl. Yeah, we can go with that. Thing is, I've got 3 kids now, so I've got to have names for all 3 of them, I guess. So a lot of those are good. Though I don't think my son would want to be called sweetie. He's getting just old enough that it's like he wants to be cool, you know. Sometimes he wants hugs and other times he doesn't. Almost everybody has kids in these circles. Maybe that keeps us sane. Yeah, I really think we're normal people. That's the thing I love about YouTube and this community is that you have a lot of just regular people that have a platform. I mean, if you work hard and you're building your platform, then yeah, I mean, you have a voice. The way that it's always been before is you had to be so committed to some kind of publisher, right? Or some kind of organization. So usually it attracts just weirdos, I guess. There are definitely good people in the industry, but I have to admit there are a lot of weirdos. It's kind of shocking to me how many strange people work in the comic book industry. Sweet girl and cast boy. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, cast it has a manly sound to it, I guess. Has like the hard C, which is always good. I got cats. Does that count? Hey, Daniel, you're still, I'm assuming you're you're still a normal person. You don't have to have kids to be a normal person. But you just don't act like crazy people on Twitter. Uh, are you saying childless weirdos? Haha, classic. No, I'm really not. I mean, I've got a brother that doesn't have any kids, and he's he's cool. I've got no, you know, I like having kids. If you don't, that's cool too. It's just there seem to be a high concentration of weirdos in comics. Yeah. Uh, Son of Sweetcast. It's a good title for all age comic. I like that, Son of Sweetcast. That's awesome. All right, I'm really avoiding this. I don't want to do it. Uh, I've got to tear out more sheetrock. I'm avoiding it, and then I've got to lay sheetrock, and I've got to figure out. I haven't even found the leak yet. I've turned off water, but I need to figure out where it is. Pete says normal comic cut. Okay, I'm gonna say one little thing about the comic book cut. I hope that's okay. I really don't want to focus on internal Comicsgate drama. Yeah, I've got a leak in the wall. That's why I'm not at work today. I took a little break here to live stream. Okay, comic book cut. Uh, so I hope that I would assume that he's still on YouTube watching. I would hope. I have doubts that he's watching this right now, but who knows? You never know. So the thing is, he made 3 videos. For those of you who don't know about it, he made 3 videos. The first one, at least from my point of view, these 3 videos led to the end. Build that wall, Stoker. Yeah, exactly. I've got a wall to build. I wish I would have chosen a different material though. Sheetrock is kind of the name of the game. Okay, so basically, comic book cut made 3 videos, and the first one, I think it was called something like "The Tortoise and the Hare" or something like that, and uh, he was comparing Red Rooster to Ethan's book Cyber Frog, and he was wondering which one would come out first. And he was critical of being late on books. He was also critical of the whole Tim Lim cash grab situation. And I'll be honest, I don't know. All I know is what you know about that. So I don't know. All I know is how it looks publicly, and it didn't. It looked like a little bit of a mistake in public. However, I do think it's okay and it's good to be critical of books not being on time. Now, I'm not, obviously, Ethan has heard this over and over again. And I realize that I think a lot of us realize there's a lot that goes into starting a whole new publishing imprint, and, going out on your own. And so, sure, maybe it takes longer. I have no idea what's going on. But if you're going to have a critical channel, I think it's okay to be critical of timelines, right? I mean, that's kind of, from my point of view, Comicsgate has been about that, being able to be critical of comics, comic industries, comic creators, everything. I think that's fair. Okay, that was the first video. Second video, uh, gosh, I can't remember the name of it. This is the one that's actually up on YouTube right now under another channel called the Comic Book Putz, I believe. And he made a video that really doubled down on I mean, really it was Cecil. I guess there was a few others as well, but mainly it was Cecil in that video. Uh and so yeah, there was anyway, he made the video, it was doubling down, and that's where I felt like it went too far. Then like much later, it was like really late at night and a lot of people didn't see this video. It was his last video, and it was called The Mean One Speaks, I think. And it was even doubling down more. And so he, yeah, I mean, he threw Edwin under the bus. He threw the Umbrella Guy, Yellow Flash, a whole bunch of people. I don't want to pretend to know what was going on behind the scenes, but I do know after the first video happened and he talked about, being critical of being on time with a book. I actually sent him a DM and I said, "Hey, man, I appreciate that you're being honest and being critical of having books out on time." Because I've had this discussion with other YouTube creators about, how do you be critical about Comicsgate creators, without causing some sort of internal struggle. And all you do is you just be critical of it. And I've had this discussion with Yellow Flash as well. He's not afraid to be critical of a Comicsgate book. So I'm actually, and I think Professor Geek too, actually, that's another person. Uh, yeah, it doesn't, it's okay to be critical. It's more of like a in your head kind of fear that if you're critical. Now, being critical of a book or a business practice is totally different than like personal attacks. And so he called Cecil names. He was making fun of his weight, all sorts of stuff like that. So I then I thought, wow, this way went over the line. Okay, I just want to address chat here real quick. Lady Hawk, at this point, I think Comicsgate is about building a new industry outside the mainstream. This is what I love about Comicsgate. Put your work out there and let the market decide. Yeah, I think you're exactly right. And so another thing about that is feeling guilted into buying something. That doesn't make a very good business practice. I bring this up because it comes up a lot with like comic book shops. So, for example, I did that video. Was that my last video? I think it was my video yesterday on the article that they did. Bleeding Cool they put out about. Sorry, I gotta remember my thoughts. Oh yeah, if you lower the prices of comics, then it's going to kill local comic book stores. So they use local comic book stores as this sort of moral like leverage. So, well, if you don't like the way it is, then you don't like your local comic book shop. And so it's like you're guilted into just going along with it for the sake of your local comic retailer. When, the reality is local comic book retailers, they're not the ones setting MSRP. They're not doing that kind of stuff. It's the publisher. They're setting MSRP. They're the ones that have like the order limits or the minimums, all that kind of stuff. So yeah, they make you feel guilty if you vote with your feet. The same thing within Comicsgate. I don't think you should feel guilted into obviously buying a book that you don't think interests you at all. If it doesn't interest you, then that's fine. If you don't like the book after you received it, you should be able to be critical of that book, and that's just fine. Yeah. Okay, discussion on printers. Okay, I think so. Captain Cummings, it takes nothing to create a publishing house, especially when you have that much cash. I wouldn't say it takes nothing. I mean, objectively, I've been learning. Yeah, no, I've started businesses before. It does. I mean, it's a big undertaking. To be fair, it's a big undertaking to start a business. A, find a printer, thousands of them in America, millions worldwide. B, ship books. C, website to sell books. Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's doable. It's absolutely doable. I don't know what the time frame would be. I have no idea. You're also creating the book. So I'm not saying that to excuse being late on a book. I have no idea what was going on behind the scenes. But I do know that for a lot of people, this is the first time that they're publishing their own book. I've published my own books. It wasn't, I print on demand situation, things like that. That's not, I mean, it's still a lot of effort. It's a lot of work. I wouldn't say it's nothing, but I would also, I don't know, I would think you could set a deadline. Reasonably, you could set a deadline and hit it outside of, who knows what else could happen, I guess. Distribution of books to Europe is impossibly expensive. Yes, that's something that cannot be overlooked, actually. Uh, doing, man, yeah, sending books to Europe is a big deal. The shipping expense is outrageous, and the expectation, like for a crowdfunding campaign, I've been going over those numbers a lot. But to offer everyone free shipping, but you're also doing free shipping worldwide, that sounds nice, like from a consumer's perspective, but it'll absolutely, you'll be out of business before you even start. There's just the reality of the situation that shipping is really expensive. So I'm not saying that has anything to do with Cyberfrog, but I'm saying for me, that's something that does worry me. I've got to figure out, yeah, how exactly that works. And that's the benefit right now that Diamond Distribution has, is they can, well, big publishers, Marvel, any big book publishers, they can get things distributed for cheaper, presumably. Uh, but things, I don't know, things are changing a little bit. It sounds like IndieCron has plans for fulfillment using Amazon. It's been done other places. I know I found a scenario in the board game world. Some people that have crowdfunded board games. I mean, this is maybe worth doing a video. I've just been learning a little bit about it, but if you can ship like a whole pallet to uh, an Amazon warehouse that's in Europe or one that's in Asia, then basically that's your distribution service. They have all the books they need. They've got a whole pallet. So you're just paying for freight to them. And then from there, then they can sell the books and offer free shipping and convenient. And, it works nicely. But I don't have that kind of power right now, nor that kind of money. Cam says Comicsgate books are going to deliver and the process will get better, or a creator will disappear. Yeah, I think you're right. This is definitely the proving ground. This is the phase where we're, I guess, going to see how it works. It's kind of interesting as I'm coming in phase two, I would say. I really I'm hesitant to post a campaign before all those major books have been delivered, because I want those major books to be delivered and I want people to have a good feeling about them and to be happy about it. I want people to, I guess, trust that Comicsgate delivers books. It's funny because I even have another layer of I would need to prove myself, because I mean I've published before, never a comic book though. So this would be my first full finished comic project published. And so I do feel like I have a lot to prove, but it's only going to be harder for me if Comicsgate has this reputation for being late or being, just putting out bad books. I realize they're totally different creators. It shouldn't matter, but the truth is it does to consumers. The word gets out. Pete says, you need to downcast some drywall. That leak ain't gonna fix itself. I know. I'm gonna get off here pretty soon, probably. Captain Cummings, don't rely on other people. Sweetcast, do your own thing and rely on yourself. Yeah, I'm not. I'm not relying on other people, but I do think it sets a tone. Like if Indiegogo books were always a scam, then that kind of closes the door for me. I can't do an Indiegogo book. People don't trust the crowdfunding as a viable option, I guess. So yeah, this is why I'm building my own mailing list. I have my own YouTube channel. I'm gonna try my darndest to just get it out. But if people have bad experiences with Comicsgate in general, then I've come out. I'm Comicsgate. I'm pretty proud of that. So I don't know, like it does affect me really in the big picture. Cam says, I think the more indie creators can front load their processes, the better. Yeah, I agree. This is another point, is that crowdfunding usually, like initially, it was something where you could get money in order to do a project, but it seems like crowdfunding, especially on Kickstarter with really big projects, they already have the resources to do the book, like, or make the product first, and then they're using crowdfunding. It really is just a sales tool in order to just get the sales out there. They've already done it. That's nice. I wish I could do that. Honestly, I can't. Like it's really expensive just to pay for art. And I want to make sure my artist gets paid. I don't want to be in the same situation as Vault Comics where I make promises and then I don't pay. So I need to use crowdfunding for like its initially intended purpose. There's definitely a risk, but I'm hoping I can like prove myself. I get stuff done. There's no reason why, if I didn't have the money, obviously my artist Nacho Lazaro, he's fantastic. And he's very professional. So I have no doubt that he'll get it done. It's just, you need the money to get it done. You do use Sweetcast. Honestly, I prefer if creators posted campaigns like in the middle of their project. Yeah, I hear that. That makes sense. I can tell you right now, I'm paying out of pocket to get the first 5 pages done and the cover and lettered, colored, lettered, totally completed 5 pages and a cover. So that's something. It's not half a project, but it's something. And I don't see any reason why I wouldn't be able to set a deadline and hit it. Me and Nacho have been talking about this a lot, and I don't know, he hits deadlines, man. He knows what he's doing. So I don't know. I think I don't have a problem with that. Hopefully the big picture, I guess, is just to set the right deadline. Let's see. I wouldn't say Comicsgate has a reputation for being late. Isn't that more of a general crowdfunding thing? A lot of stuff that gets funded online is late. That is true. Yeah, I've seen. So I did run a crowdfunding campaign. This was like a year and a half ago. I worked with the artist and we made a board game. And yeah, I learned a lot about crowdfunding there. But yeah, things are late all the time. And a big part of that, usually the problem, is that you have somebody that's starting a new venture that they haven't done before. And so there's a lot of unanticipated delays. At least that's from my perspective. That's what it seems like. If you have like a well-established company that's done a lot of crowdfunding, then usually they can hit their deadlines. They know what to expect. They've already got their printers that they trust and all that kind of stuff. Things could go wrong, but if it's your first time, that's usually where it seems like you have delays, only because you aren't anticipating everything. Captain Cummings crowdfunding has always been a risk. That's why that's why the person isn't using their own money to produce the product. I mean, if I had the money, I would do it up front and sell it, I guess. I honestly don't, though. Like crowdfunding is the only way I could raise that money and still have peace, I guess, in my marriage. I could, I guess, sell my house. That's extreme. It doesn't take that much money to make a comic, but it takes more than I've got lying around. NASA was the first to ship, the forerunner of Comicsgate. Yeah, and congrats. When you get a book finished, I don't care what the book is. I don't care, like there are definitely varying degrees. I think his first book, Stardust, right? It didn't have any color. So that's like one process out of it. It doesn't matter. He got a book done, so congrats to him. Let's see. Should there be some people focused on editing in Comicsgate? It would help with maintaining quality and keeping a schedule. Yeah, this was one of the points I made. I mean, early on with Comicsgate, one of my early videos was that like things, the whole crowdfunding model. I don't know that it's really long term sustainable because I don't know. There's got to be, you have to have some kind of confidence in what you're going to get. So if you're getting everything from the same publisher, uh, we'll say Alterna. We'll use Alterna as an example. You could trust that they're going to get a book out. You can trust what kind of print quality it's going to be. You'd know it's going to be like newsprint or however their graphic novels are. You know what you're getting. The problem with Comicsgate, or is also, I guess, the beauty of Comicsgate, is that there are a whole bunch of independent creators that are sort of, I guess, sharing an ideal. And so, yeah, some people are doing a great job of getting their books published, their books edited really well, and some people might not be as doing such a good job there, if that makes sense. So like there's a few solutions to this. You could have a comics gate like writers guild almost, or like a, I don't know, like a group that you of writers where you get together. If you're or artists, if you're the artist and you're doing the story and you're writing the dialogue, like band together and help each other out. Writers groups really do work. Getting feedback from people and having more eyes on it, it's helpful. If you're doing it all yourself, there's a lot more likelihood that you're going to have mistakes in editing, things like that. Yeah. Hey, Mutt, welcome. Crowdfunding isn't a perfect model, but it's the current best model for creating new comic. Yeah, Malin says you need about 1,000 to invest up front. If you don't have an artist, I'd say that's accurate. Yeah, that's about right. I think I'm gonna be yeah, it should be about $1,000, honestly. I might be slightly over that, like $50 over, but about $1,000, which is doable. I mean, I had to do a little bit of saving, and I might end up selling a couple. I've have been pretty into Magic the Gathering in the past. I might sell a couple cards. I've got some expensive ones, just to make sure I've got the rest of the funds I need. But it should be about 1,000. The reality is it's not all that much money and up front, and then crowdfunding really really helps, because the other thing is if you can't get it funded in crowdfunding, then that's the market telling you something, I guess. You may need to do more marketing. You may need to, change, I guess, the looks of the cover, or I mean, there's so many things that it could be telling you. But it is nice because you get to hear back from the market before you spend all the money printing books. Pete says, Sweetcast, I'm using my own money. That's why it's taking so long when I finish. No one knows anything about me, so you're doing it right with your channel and email list. Yeah, I think that's really commendable. If you're using your own money to create the whole thing up front, that's really great. Uh, yeah, then the other half is getting the word out there and getting the book out there. If the book looks great, that's doing a lot of work for you. Um, yeah, and then the other part is just people have to know who you are. So I feel like as a writer, I do feel this responsibility to obviously have the YouTube channel, be talking to people all the time, and trying to get the word out there, because I don't know, it just seems necessary. If you're going to be doing crowdfunding, you need to have a lot of people know about it in advance. Okay. Let's see. Yeah, $1,000 should get you around 5 inked pages. It depends too. There's a, I mean, are you hiring a letterer, or are you going to do letters yourself? um how much is your artist charging you? How much are you like negotiating to pay them on the back end? There's a lot of things. But honestly, 5 to ink pages is actually pretty good because that gives people a good idea of what they're looking at. I would wanna see a colored cover, especially if your book's gonna be in color. I don't know, just seems like most people wanna see color. I suggest all this is from Retro Graphics. I suggest all writers learn to letter and do their own pre-press. Yeah, so that's a skill. I'm still debating on lettering. There's definitely a skill and there's an art to lettering because you can't just put words on the page, but it's certainly something you could learn. I've watched there's some actually pretty good tutorials on YouTube, and I would suggest ones that are like given by professional letterers, not like, hey, I figured out how to letter yesterday. But yeah, there are definitely skills you could learn. I did pre-press work for uh, both of my novels that I published, and that was a lot of learning there. But I didn't have to deal with a lot of artwork, so I think there's even more learning with pre-press work for a comic book. But yeah, I think you're right. Those are really good skills to learn as a writer. It'll save you money too. Okay, since we're talking indie artists, I also do streams where I draw my trash. So y'all are invited. Cough, cough, for a blatant plug. Yeah, Senjamin Bisco. Yeah, cool. I will check out your channel if you're interested in watching some drawing. Go check it out. Let's see, Danny Agent. Use crowdfunding to fund creation of comic books as a back variant plus perks after fulfillment. Push a no frills version of the book through a normal distribution. I like that idea actually a lot. Yeah, like you could do yeah, like something exclusive. This kind of comes into rags. I don't know, y'all heard about that a little bit. I think there's something that they've been like the idea of having an exclusive book or like an exclusive cover, like that particular printing of that book is something you can only get if you're one of the early adopters. You're getting it on Indiegogo or whatever it might be. There's something nice there because there's the collectible, the collectors are sort of drawn to it. I like that. So I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure about variant covers. I don't know. I still need to think about it. Okay, $1,000 is really different based on country too. Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, if you're going for like an artist in America, they're a lot more expensive. And it's not again, it's something that you just have to measure. You have to weigh whether I don't know. To me, like it comes down to the artwork. What art is best for your book? Now, I'd love to have some like really expensive high end artists. I could think of a few right now. I'd love to have draw my books, but the reality is it's going to cost a lot more than $1,000. So it's not really doable. Now, maybe you could get a cover and like one page of sequential art. I don't know. That might be pushing it. Maybe you could do that. And if it was just a fantastic big name artist, you could get it funded and do really well. It's totally possible. Let's see. I think I'll create a tutorial video for lettering comics. Muttman. That would be nice. Yeah, I think that's a skill. It's often overlooked skill. It's really important to comics, obviously. But there are a lot of little nuances to lettering that are important. Even like what size should the font be? Because you can't really go by 12-point font or whatever the point is. Because it varies so much on what kind of font you're using because it's like all the hand, well, or not all of it, but a lot of it's the hand lettered kind of font. And so, yeah, getting the right sizes so it looks good and reads well when it's printed, I think that's important. Retro graphics, go big or go home, I say. Yeah, I mean, if I could convince like I don't know, think of the best artist you can think of. It's not just like paint the matter of money. It's a matter of convincing this giant big name artist to do a book with me. That's the other part of it. Um, so I don't know. I think I did really well, honestly, with Nacho. I love his art. That for me was the first thing. So I loved his art. I think it worked well with the book. So yeah, I guess we'll go from there. All right. Thanks everyone for watching. I think I'm gonna shut it off now. I've got to go get back to work. It was a nice break. I would much rather talk about comics than be tearing out drywall and fixing a leak. I'm gonna find out where the leak's coming from, and if I need to hire a plumber, I guess I'll go from there. So thanks everyone for watching. I will see you next time.